alongside Alan Parry.
And welcome to Lansdowne Road, which in fact is packed almost to capacity once again on this wet and windy day in Dublin. The pitch, incidentally, looking better than I've ever seen it here. The rugby teams who use this ground are now kept off before a big football international, and I think that's a sign of the enormous strides the game has made in the Republic since Jack Charlton took over the national team 7 years ago. A presentation before kick-off to Ray Houghton, who becomes the 14th player in the Republic of Ireland's history to receive a gold medal for winning 50 caps. In fact, it's his 54th international today. Made his debut in Jack Charlton's first ever game in charge against Wales in 1986, and curiously, that was the only time that Jack Charlton has tasted defeat here at Lansdowne Road. They have one of the best home records in world football. It's 28 matches now since they lost here, including the group wins against Albania, Latvia and Northern Ireland, and they didn't concede a goal in any of those games. Drew 1-1 against Denmark, the only point they've dropped here. The side, well, it virtually picked itself. As you probably heard, Kevin Moran coming into the side today to replace the suspended Paul McGrath. And there are a handful of Irish players who have one booking against them. We'll come back to that in a moment as we look at the Lithuanian team, which certainly is well under strength. They had problems getting the release of their players who play professional football in Austria and in Germany. Not only that, but they had problems finding a kit. Lithuania actually turned up with green shirts, and a hurried phone call to the Irish FA meant that they had to go out and buy them a brand new strip. Rune Pedersen, the Norwegian referee, gets the game underway, and Lithuania in the white shirts and black shorts. They have one of the poorest records of any nation in European football. They've played almost 100 internationals, and apart from victories against fellow Baltic states, they've only won twice against Finland and Libya. That's hardly a record that's going to bother Jack Charlton. Foul there by Niall Quinn on Kirilovas, one of the two strikers in this basically 4-4-2 formation that Lithuania play. Baranauskas, the captain, the player who will take the free kick, and in fact, in the match in Lithuania when these sides met, Ireland won 1-0, he hit the post with a long-range free kick, so Bonner will know what to expect here. Didn't quite get his sights on target that time, but he could be a threat. Ron Atkinson.
Yes, I think the last thing the Lithuanians want is a high-pressure game, and I think that's something Jack Charlton will insist upon. They'll want to pace the game at the back, Lithuania, pass the ball around in little triangles, one touch, two touch. But what Jack will demand from his team is that his midfield players and his front people particularly go and get right on top of them and get well stuck in. It's, you know, make it a little bit of a minefield for them to play in. It's very noticeable as well straight away that both Quinn and Aldridge have got themselves man-to-man markers.
A good break already, and Quinn in possession. And it's a dangerous ball to the near post, and as Aldridge slid in, the goalkeeper Stoucher did well then. Don't expect to see Niall Quinn in that situation where he's providing the crosses. He's normally on the end of them, but that was a lovely ball into the near post, and good goalkeeping here to deny Aldridge the first chance of the game. Staunton takes the corner, and it's a wicked-looking one. Moran up well, but both he and Baranauskas missed it, and it's gone behind for a goal kick to Lithuania. It's their final game, incidentally, in Group 3, Lithuania. Their record is 2 wins, 3 draws, and 6 defeats. They've lost their last 4 matches without even scoring, and 3 of them were at home. Roy Keane, the youngest in the Irish team today, is 22. Rushed aside. Neat layup there by Slakeys, and the number 11 gets the ball back again from Apanavicius. This is Slakeys in possession. Dangerous ball into the Irish box. Dealt with by Irwin. The number 3 is Baltushnikas, and he's overhit that. And Irwin again, the last line of defence for the Republic, and cleverly letting the ball run for a goal kick. I mentioned before the match about the situation regarding cautions for Ireland. They have 5 players: Moran, Houghton, Keane, Staunton and Quinn. Irwin is not one of them. who have already received one caution in this group, and another caution today would mean that they would be suspended from the next match here against Spain. So that's probably worrying Ireland as much as the outcome here, I think. Obvious foul there on Quinn by Kalvaitis.
Yes, he's sticking to him like a leech, and Zukas has also gone very, very tight with Aldridge. That's leaving Baltushnik as spare at the back for them.
Erwin swings the free kick in dangerously. And a very poor clearance keeps the pressure going. Moran's layoff. Keane in possession. That was a good effort, deflected away to Erwin. Looking for Staunton and finding him. And the first time cross is met by Aldridge. And Ireland are in front with less than 4 minutes gone.
Goalkeeper's going balmy there on him. He thinks he's got a big claim for offside there on Aldridge. But a fierce cross from Stevie Staunton. And that's what Aldridge is all about, isn't it? Just living in the 6-yard box. There's Irwin's long ball across. Defender misjudges it. Fierce first-time ball. And I don't think there's too many officials would have given that offside. He did appear to be coming from the blind side of his marker there, Aldridge.
John Aldridge gets his 13th goal for the Republic of Ireland in his 55th international. He's already top scorer in this group, by the way. That's his 6th goal now. And that's just the start the Republic needed to convince them that they can go on and relax and play their football now and get the expected comfortable victory against Lithuania, who would have dreaded something like that happening so early in the game. Well, that'll relax them. I think we'll see the Irish stroking it around now. They got an early goal here, remember, against Northern Ireland a couple of games ago in the group, and in the first half that day they played outstandingly well and did enough to win the game by half-time. Foul there by Kevin Moran.
Yeah, I think what will please Jack as well was the very fact that the goal came from a little spate of pressure play, wasn't it? They pressed right up, both fullbacks right up behind the midfield, and they kept the pressure on the Lithuanians there.
Baranauskas playing the ball into Ireland's penalty area, but no hope for Slakis. And Paki Bonner first to anticipate it, and a good kick by the keeper. It's a swirling sort of wind here. It's going across the pitch rather than down it. Free kick to Lithuania. Andy Townsend, who's recovered from a hamstring injury which has kept him out of 3 of Aston Villa's games early in the season, has just conceded the free kick. Tushnikas getting it back into his own half to the captain Baranauskas, and back further still, and that's good work by Aldridge. Well, they always call him here the first defender for Ireland. He put so much pressure on central defenders, as he did then. Almost a good effect, Ron.
I was just wondering, then that could have been one of the goals of the season, this, couldn't it? Here he pressurises the defender, gets a firm block on it, and would have been nice to see what would have happened with the goalkeeper if the ball had been a bit lower there.
John Aldridge has scored more World Cup goals than anyone in Ireland's history, and his goal in the 4th minute gave Ireland the lead here today. After today, incidentally, the Republic plays Spain here in October, then Northern Ireland in Belfast in November. And although some newspapers at the weekend said 3 points would be enough for qualification, strictly speaking, 2 wins out of those 3 games, including today, and they are in the USA next summer. They may not need 2 wins. Good play on the left by Lithuania. They're not really getting anywhere.
I think we'll find throughout the game, though, they'll play with some nice pockets of football, because like all the countries from the old Eastern Bloc, they'll have good technique. They'll play at a system where they'll have a spare man at the back, and they'll be able to spread the ball along. What they look to me, they look a nice side, and I'm sure Big Jack's going to say get right in amongst them all the while. They don't have to chase for goals now, of course, Ireland. They can just wait for the goals to come along.
Well, Tushnikas, the sweeper, with the clearance. And the Republic's throw. And Big Jack was the player, the man rather, who came out and caught the ball, to the huge delight of the fans who absolutely worship him here. Townsend.
Come on, that's it, Anne.
Phelan. Chipped in towards Quinn. And they do look in danger whenever the ball's played in high. Lithuania won't be able to cope, I wouldn't think, too well with Quinn. Not many teams can. This
This is Keane. Staunton to his left. Aldridge and Quinn waiting for the cross, which is knocked behind by Baltushnikas for a corner.
I think Big Jack in a situation like that will be looking for Steve Staunton to take that on a little bit, you know, and get to the dead ball line. I know he feels happier when the Irish team are crossing balls from near close to the dead ball line. He feels he gets an awful lot of joy from his front two.
Irwin to take the corner. Kernahan has joined Quinn towards the near post. Baranauskas gets it clear. Houghton keeps possession for Ireland. This is Irwin. Slid into Keane. That's a lovely return ball. And Irwin's first touch just let him down. Only 23, the goalkeeper, plays for Spartak Moscow and is not first choice. The first choice goalkeeper, one of those who was unavailable for this match. Andy Townsend. This is Houghton. Keane helps it on to Staunton. Phelan on the overlap. And in it goes towards Houghton. Certainly committing a lot of players forward early on here, the Irish. Kirilovas with the ball for Lithuania, but that's a waste.
Yes, the Lithuanians are also allowing the Irish plenty of room in the wide positions. They're only virtually occupying the wide positions themselves with one player on each side of the field. And every time there's any movement at all from the Irish midfield, it takes markers away, drags people all over the place and leaves a load of space for the likes of Phelan and Irwin on the other side.
Free kick given there for a foul by Jukas on Stevie Staunton, who gets it going immediately. Houghton making a fine run in the inside left position. He didn't quite pick him out though, but Moran wins it back. Phelan, in it goes high towards Quinn. He's done well here, Quinn. He's done really well and almost caught the goalkeeper out on the near post. Stoucher equal to it this time.
This is the high one here. This nearly puts it straight back into Aldridge's run. But Kelvietas and Baltushnikas don't fancy it, don't relish the aerial battle at all, you know.
That swirling wind is also making it even harder for them to judge the crosses from left or right, as Phelan knocks another long ball in for Aldridge to chase. Tereshkinas, the first defender, to it. And he took a bit of a chance then with Aldridge on his toes. He will not let these back four players settle in possession. Looking for Skarbalius and failing to find him. Kalvaitis now. You can tell that they've got no confidence at all. That was a poor ball, giving possession back to Ireland, who are going to see a lot of the ball today, that's for sure. Moran hammers it in, looking for Quinn. Irwin to Houghton, good one too. No, he just played it in behind him. Too much pace on it. Keane wants the ball now. And shapes for the cross. This is Townsend. Phelan. High again towards Quinn, touched on by Houghton in fact, to Keane. Quinn couldn't quite dig it out, but they've got a corner out of it anyway. A little bit of panic at the back. And Quinn is the man causing most of it at the moment, Ron.
Yes, as soon as the ball goes into a wide position, he straight away pulls off to the far post and they launch everything at him.
Staunton will take the corner. A little too high. This is Tereshkinas. They've only got one man basically up front at the moment, Lithuania, so there's not even an immediate threat on the counter-attack to the Irish.
And again, Roy, well done, son.
Phelan organising the defenders around him. Baltushnikas, who's captain of the leading club side in his country, Zalgiris. Easily won back though by Moran. Phelan stabs it forward. This time Quinn doesn't win it, but it drops almost for Aldridge. Good interception by Tereshkinas. They can't get going on that side. Skarbalius hemmed in by Irish players. Stumbris to his help. Panavicius. And you can almost hear a pin drop when Lithuania finally do win possession. They do, in fact, have a handful of fans somewhere in Lansdowne Road. And they've won the ball well there with Kirilovas. The cross blocked by Townsend. Baranauskas makes sure that Lithuania keep possession, but now they're giving it away. Baltushnikas robbed. Keane goes forward and finds Staunton. Phelan screaming up on the overlap to his left. And Staunton tries the shot. My word, that was a spectacular effort from, it must have been all of 35 yards by Steve Staunton, who scored the winning goal, in fact, when the teams met in Lithuania.
Yes, obviously, he's got a big left footer, Steve. I'm not too sure Terry Phelan would have appreciated that, though. He's run 60 yards alongside Steve and probably felt he deserved to be played in there.
Staunton again gets it from Phelan. And again, he's made the overlap, taken the man away from him, but doesn't get the ball. Quinn gets it instead. And on to Irwin. Staunton coming in on the far post. He was just touched away there by Apanavicius as Staunton was threatening to connect. Good work by Stumbris. And Slakis keeps possession for Lithuania. Kirilovas getting it back again to Stumbris. And they don't seem to have too many bright ideas when they reach the edge of that Irish penalty area, which they've only done 2 or 3 times so far in the opening almost 15 minutes now. Ireland leading by 1-0. John Aldridge the scorer. Here's Quinn with loads of room to turn. And still they haven't got it away. Quinn again to Houghton. Now Irwin. Houghton. Cross towards Aldridge. And Quinn! That was a chance for Quinn. Stabbed at it a little when perhaps he might have had more time than he thought.
I think he was a little bit surprised to receive anything on the deck, wasn't it? But there's this little build-up play on the right-hand side between Houghton and Irwin. Ball's put in, Aldridge just gets a little nick on it, and it's come as a complete surprise there to Quinn.
John Aldridge certainly playing well in this opening period for the Republic. Scored the goal and has been involved in 2 or 3 good things, which Quinn has had the benefit of. Keane to Staunton. Used the wrong club there, I think.
That in training would be described as couldn't cross a postal order.
And I've watched you, shall we say, issue the odd rebuke in training at Aston Villa. You do have a neat line in insults.
Yeah, I think the problem that the moment the Irish, or the danger the Irish might have, is that they get so much of the ball that they start to get a little bit careless like that.
Yes, it was Jack's real concern all along, Jack Charlton, that complacency might set in here. Because without being disrespectful to the opposition, Ireland should beat them with ease. Here's Phelan. Crossed in first time. And won back by Houghton off the captain. Well played, Houghton. Now Staunton. And again, the crowd told him the challenge was coming. It's on his right foot now, which is not his favourite, but he's still earned a corner.
I bet some of these lads in the Lithuanian team, you know, have never ever had to play in a game like this. I mean, we've been playing, as you say, just over a quarter of an hour, and there's been so much ball pumped into their penalty box, I bet they can't believe it.
Yes, there's a number of these Lithuanian players with only a handful of caps between them. A young side. What an introduction this is. And then it goes high towards Keane. And Aldridge in behind him made the header.
That's the other thing, of course. We talk about Quinn being the aerial threat, but if you look through the Irish team, I mean, you've just mentioned a boy there. Roy Keane's probably as good as anybody in the game in the air. You know, he's a magnificent leaper. They've got Quinn, Aldridge, Big Kevin and Kernigan coming up from the back. So they're well equipped for the aerial game. I mean, the Lithuanians, if they're going to have any joy at all, they've got to somehow try and get somebody from midfield, which they've got plenty of people there. Somebody past the ball sort of thing, past their strikers. They're only really leaving 2 men up the field, so they've really got to get quick support from the midfield areas.
They can't get going here, and Townsend wins it back again. You can see what he was trying to do there. The goalkeeper shaped to come to the far post, and he tried to catch him out on the near post, but it didn't come off.
Yes, they need this second one now badly, don't they? And Andy Townsend he's cut inside, he's got a lot of space in a danger area and hasn't really caught the back of the ball properly.
Canahan's header, the Middlesbrough man. Won't have too many of them, I don't think, today, in a defensive role anyway. Out goes forward. Keane to his right, he's going all the way, and it actually hit Quinn and deflects behind for a goal kick. He was trying to get out of the way of that, I think. Strong Aston Villa connection, of course, today, Ron. You've got a few Irish accents, although not all of these Irish players actually have Irish accents, do they?
No, one was born in London, one was born in Glasgow. But I mean, you can sense they're relishing the task, the Irish. I mean, every time they come forward, there's the power running from... They've got about 6 good power runners from the midfield and the 2 flank defenders. And they certainly do race forward to support. I think also in the knowledge that they know unless something drastic happens, they're not really going to be hurt at the back.
Alvaitis for them. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, if he can't make a simple pass without any pressure, then he could be in for a torrid afternoon. Goes forward to Staunton. That's good play. Panavicius did well then under pressure from Staunton, and the crowd rightly applaud him, but they're not out of the woods yet. They are neat and tidy, but without any great effect, and sometimes like that they dwell on the ball too long, and Townsend wins it back, and on it goes to Aldridge, and on further to Houghton. He needs some help now. It comes from Keane. Well, he's never actually scored in a full international for the Republic of Ireland, Roy Keane, and will be, as they say, disappointed with that effort.
I think when they get into those areas just round the box, you know, I think if they put one more pass in, a slightly wider pass, and got themselves nearer the dead ball line, they'll be able to put better angle balls in. I think at the moment they're getting so anxious that they feel that there's goals there for them, the Irish team, that they're hurrying it a little bit from just outside the penalty box.
Kernahan with a towering header. Aldridge's layoff to Houghton. Alvaitis wins it back, but now Townsend. And on to Staunton. Oh dear. Baltushnikas with a very strange clearance.
You see, he will never have played in his life, I wouldn't think, in a game with a tempo like this. You know, even in the old Russian teams and things like that, they always tended to play a very, very much patterned football, didn't they?
Well, the Irish must be one of the most dangerous teams in world football from corners as well. They can't afford to concede too many. Staunton kills it in on the win. Quinn's header. Well, he's going to win them with ease, but couldn't quite direct it accurately that time.
Well, the number 4, Calvietas, is probably as tall as Quinn, but he doesn't even appear to get up for this one. He just lets Quinn take it virtually down the back of his neck.
Talk about complacency, by the way. The Irish Football Association had to actually print an article in the match programme today urging their supporters, that's offside, urging their supporters to stop ringing in and writing in, asking how they get tickets for the United States next year. The confidence of the supporters is so high, they think they've qualified already. And the FAI pointing out that a small matter of completing the qualifying games first. But obviously with a big Irish population in America, particularly on the East Coast around the Boston area, where it's rumoured they will be based if they do get there, it could be quite a holiday for the Irish supporters, that is, not the players. Now then, Lithuania moving forward with a little bit of purpose for once. Panavicius goes round Staunton, and indeed Staunton tripped him. Free kick. So we'll see what Lithuania are made of in an attacking sense now from a set piece. They've sent the two central defenders, Baltushnikas and Kalvaitis, forward. Easily the two tallest players in what's quite a smallish side, really, in terms of height. And Bonner stretched for that one when he never really had much hope of getting there. And Baranauskas goes down, but clearly no infringement. And the Irish break clear from the free kick against them. Aldridge in the middle, waiting for the cross, which was not a very good one from Ray Houghton. Kalvaitis, Baranauskas, sloppy layoff again. This is Keane. Staunton making the run, and he finds him. And it goes on a rather strange fisted clearance from the goalkeeper. Keeps Ireland in possession with Quinn. Townsend. Keane. Carnahan comes up from the back. That's a tremendous effort. That's two long-range shots that we've seen from Ireland that have almost produced goals, and they've now got a corner.
Well, it was a screamer, wasn't it, from Alan Carnahan? And I think we should point out a very, very good save from Stoucher. I mean, once or twice he's punched at balls I've not been terribly happy with, but that's a good save. Good height for a goalkeeper, but certainly a good save.
But another corner to face. Moran getting in on that far post, and it was flicked away for another corner. So the pressure continues. Kevin Moran's 68th cap today, by the way. He's now only 4 short of the all-time Irish record held by Liam Brady. Aldridge waiting in amongst the defenders. Kernahan's on the near post. And that's a tremendous header from Moran, which somehow is cleared. It'll come back in again from Irwin. And it's Kernahan who gets the second goal, his first ever for the Republic of Ireland. It was only a matter of time. 25 minutes gone. Ireland 2, Lithuania 0.
Well, he was just denied one a few minutes ago, wasn't he, with that thunder drive, and so that's well deserved. Good ball in by Irwin, and he just rises. That's a superb header, actually. He's beaten the sweeper Baltushnikas very, very well there, and that's a great header. Following another great header from Moran, which was cleared off the line.
Well, if Ireland didn't think they could relax at the start, they certainly know they could now, leading by 2 goals to 0 here. And let us stress that it's not just about winning the points today, though that was obviously the chief priority, but Spain have a superior goal-scoring record to Ireland in the group at the moment. So it's important, I think, that Ireland keep looking for goals here, and I'm sure Jack Charlton will emphasise that fact.
I know you can be wrong so often, but I think they've only got to carry on the way they're going, and they'll get a netful here now. I mean, I think the first goal was always going to be the vital one. Now they're just flooding it, and now I could see the Lithuanians completely folding up.
Staunton. Townsend. Corner. No, the referee's given a goal kick.
That's a sympathy vote.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even an argument, that was a corner. I think the referee started to take a bit of pity on them now, realising it's so one-sided. But it's only one-sided, you know, because the Irish boys have really, they've got stuck straight into the tasks. They haven't waited for the game. Every one of them's driven forward, and they've really worked hard, and they're making it easy for themselves now because they've worked so hard.
Kernahan with a good defensive header this time. No problems for Irwin. Bonner could have one of his quieter days in goal. And the ball on the second bounce has produced another corner. Panovicius panicking a little bit there. It's a dead ringer for Nigel Winterburn, I thought, when I saw him in training yesterday. Not quite as composed on the ball, though, as the Arsenal man.
Did ever so well, though, didn't he, to head the Moran's corner away. Superb save under the bar.
Another corner they face now. Oh, dear. Quinn had so much time and space there. I think he took his eye off the ball and missed it completely.
I wonder what would happen if on the next corner, I'd just like to see the Irish team just vary the next corner, maybe take a short one. Because the Lithuanians have got so conditioned to everything being bombed in the box now, I don't think they'd notice somebody like Houghton or even Irwin creeping up on the other side.
Well, you can see the Irish players are enjoying themselves. I mean, people say this was a home banker, which indeed it was, but you've still got to go out there and get the goals and win the game. And there have been enough shocks in football over the years for nothing to be a foregone conclusion. But they've now got the platform with 28 minutes gone of a 2-0 lead. Tushnikas for Lithuania. One back by Keane and now Houghton. And on it goes towards Aldridge. Goalkeeper favourite this time though.
That's it, Kevin. That's it, Andy. And Niall.
Baranauskas did well. Kalvaitis. Phelan's clearance. And then Staunton on by Keane. And the big sweeper, Baltushnikas wins it back. Zhukas down the line. And Phelan with a spectacular clearance. This is Quinn. Good layoff to Houghton. Aldridge had to move back, otherwise he would have been offside. It goes wide to Irwin. Houghton runs into space. This is Staunton. Irwin makes the cross this time. Touched on by Houghton to Aldridge. Didn't really connect.
That was a nice variation though from Irwin. Everybody got conditioned to him just dropping balls on Quinn on the back post. All of a sudden he drops a nice little short one in here. Houghton's trying to catch up, just can't get too much more on the header. And Aldridge, I rather fancied Aldridge would have volleyed that home. I fancied him for my life with that one.
Foul there by Roy Keane.
But they're still keeping up that midfield hounding, aren't they? Keane, Townsend, Staunton and Houghton. Every time it drops in there, I mean, I've watched the number 9 Stonebreeze for Lithuania. He looks quite a talented little player, and yet every time he's on the ball, there's always 2 or 3 green shirts nearly breaking him in two.
Kalvaitis knocking it forward to Kirilovas. Brushed aside with embarrassing ease by Houghton. Phelan's long clearance. Baltushnikas underneath it. Free kick right on the halfway line. The foul on Panavicius, and Townsend admits his guilt. Baltushnikas with a sloppy ball. Kernahan with the interception. Aldridge will chase this all the way. Kalvaitis did well. Stonebreeze. Well, they are neat and tidy and pretty in the middle of the field, but it just doesn't really look very threatening at all. And when it comes to the final telling ball, they haven't as yet produced it, but they're getting in now, and Phelan had to do a bit of defending then. Moran, the man who finally helped him out. Kirilovas beaten to it by Phelan. That was a strange clearance by the Manchester City defender, but he got away with it. And Houghton breaks clear for the Irish, who lead 2-0 here. 13 minutes of the first half remaining. The wind may have contributed then to the inaccuracy of that cross. It's being generous. Baltushnikas making an unusual sortie forward. Bonner with a good, strong, thumped clearance. Ireland heading Group 3 with an unbeaten record, remember. 6 wins and 3 draws, 15 out of 18 points. It's a marvellous record. And leading Denmark by 1 point, 2 points ahead of Spain. The Danes playing today. responded well there. But for once, most of the players on the field are in the Irish half. Everyone is marked here in a Lithuanian shirt, and they just can't find any gaps. And Bonner had to come out, and remarkably enough, the Irish found themselves totally stretched, and that really was a chance for Lithuania. It came really from absolutely nothing. I don't think they even realised themselves what a good position they'd got themselves into. And Tereshkinas might well have scored here from a ball that split the Irish defence run.
Well, I must confess, when he came onto it, Stumbrys had knocked a long ball forward. When he came in, a little bit of indecision between Bonner and the central defenders. And really, I think if he'd have had more belief in himself, I think he would have scored, because the goal was gaping for him.
I don't think Big Jack will be very happy about that moment. The last thing they can afford to do now, having made such a good start, is to get sloppy here. Foul there on Kevin Moran, who's got more injury scars than the average boxer.
I think he will also be saying, the big man, he'll also be saying at half-time, whatever you do, don't let them set up any passing movements from the back. Keep the pressure on all the while. First man goes and attacks the defender, and then we all close in from there. I mean, that's been the game plan from the word gone. I think he'll stick with that all through the second half. He won't want them sort of playing what we would term sophisticated football and slowing the game off.
Keane missed that one completely. Kirilovas breaks clear, and that's not a bad ball either to Sleikis. And support is arriving for the number 11, and that was a great challenge by Staunton in the nick of time. And suddenly, in the space of a couple of minutes, Lithuania have reminded us that there are two teams in this game. Well, Ron.
Yeah, I mean, like, as I said, they've got very, very good technique. They know how to play the game. What they don't look is if they've got any sort of belief in themselves. Whether or not those two little sorties will have given them that some sort of belief.
Here's Kalvaitis. Suddenly the Lithuanian players looking more confident now on the ball. Well, that was a sloppy one by Jukas. Terry Phelan for the Republic, who lead 2-0 here, remember. Aldridge and Kernahan the scorers. 10 minutes to half-time.
Plus, you know, in any game of football, the opposition will invariably get some sort of spell where they have situations to do things.
Townsend. Back it goes to Irwin. Swung in towards Aldridge on the near post. Headed away by Baltushnikas. And then Tereshkinas getting it away. Townsend. And that's a goal kick. It's only a small country, Lithuania. The population's only about 3.5 million, and I gather basketball is the major sport out there. They're not even showing this game live in their own country. They're preoccupied at the minute with the visit of the Pope to Lithuania. They've given up on their football team, who of course cannot qualify anyway. Irwin. Aldridge was nudged aside there by Tereshkinas. Free kick. A useful moment to get a third, just as Lithuania have had their little flurry of activity in the other penalty area. Keane. Staunton. Strange sort of cross that, disappointing by the Villa man.
Yeah, the crossing of the Irish hasn't been as good as it should be, considering how much good possession and positions they've had.
And here's another good position for Staunton. Now Irwin. It's a better cross, and Moran is there, and it shaves the post. Could so easily have been number 3.
What a good area to put the ball in as well, from where Dennis Irwin put that one in. And he is brave enough, roars at the fullback, and he needs about half a yard. Doesn't look, curls the thing in, and Big Kevin goes in brave as a lion, and the goalie would not know how that stayed out.
Now he's back at the other end. Couldn't control it. Baranauskas, the captain of Lithuania. That was a sloppy sort of ball. Warren's there again. Staunton. Tushnikas finds 3 Irish players bearing down on him. And gives it away to Phelan. Quinn. Out. And Irwin. Neat play by the Irish. Now it'll be bombed forward into the box. Aimed at Quinn, who wins it. Aldridge on the far post. Houghton was beyond him. And they could make nothing of it, despite that numerical advantage.
Once again, you see the big fella, big number 4, Calvietas. He's virtually... Oh, no, this is the early one when Kevin Moran just gets the eyebrows on it. Keeper actually, I think, got a hand on that. I think that's a corner, you know, and I think Kevin Moran thinks so.
2 goals, 1 cleared off the line, 1 against the post. And Ireland threatening again, have another corner. 6 minutes to half-time. They lead 2-0. Irwin taking this one. Staunton's taken them so far in swinging. This is an outswinger. Up towards Moran. And the referee's given a free kick against him. 37 now, Kevin Moran. An international for 13 years. Really set themselves up for qualification with 3 successive away wins in the summer in Albania, Latvia and in Lithuania, where they won 1-0 in June. The other away games saw them get a draw on each occasion in Denmark and in Spain. It's a very impressive record. They got a free kick here. Leaves it to Irwin, who's been the most accurate at crossing the ball so far for the Irish. Quinn's header. Goal kick. Scored 10 times in his previous 40 international appearances. Easy for Moran. Good header too. Aldridge putting pressure on the final defender. And Jukas just lobs it out of play.
See, that's what Jack likes. I noticed then Andy Townsend, as soon as the ball bounced, he didn't think of anything that was happening behind him. He just charged forward to put the defender under pressure. And Big Jack's demanding that from his midfield players, to step forward as often as possible.
Nice work from Phelan. Staunton. Quinn. Cleared by Jukas, but only as far as Irwin. Keane. Houghton. Back up. Ping-pong table in there at the moment. As Kernahan drives it in again to Aldridge. Are we to see a third Irish goal before half-time, I wonder? Phelan. Good challenge by Manavicius, but he's still got possession, and now Staunton. Well, it's not very often Big Quinn gets the volley rather than the header. In fact, I think he was offside anyway.
In all fairness, he didn't realise he should have done, because the number 4's not headed anything at the moment. And here's another example. Stevie Staunton pushed his deep to the second post. And watch the big number 4 again, Calavitas. He gets nowhere near it again. That's what surprised Quinny. He's not expecting that to come through a defence there. Big defender's not jumped again. I'm just wondering, you said they're basketball players in their country. Well, he's 6'2" and he hasn't headed anything yet.
Perhaps he needs it in his hand. Here's Staunton. Phelan. Staunton again. Good run here by Houghton. Townsend is with him. Haven't got there first. Townsend's got to stay off the pitch. Quinn on the far post. and he didn't really get the power behind that header. And Stouch has just kicked it straight out of play. Erwin. Quinn got there ahead of Calvaitis. Hampton. Keane was looking for the player there rather than the ball, but not for the second challenge. Well, I thought that was a bit harsh by the referee. He won it back well in my book. I suppose his studs were showing a little high, but the crowd certainly didn't like that decision.
Yes, in our domestic football, that wouldn't have even raised. In fact, that would have got sort of gasps of admiration for the strength of tackle.
Yeah.
But out on the continent, as you know, and he's a continental referee, as soon as they pick the studs up, that's a free kick. I thought it was a great challenge.
I don't think you'd have ever survived in European football, Ron. Those of us who saw you play. Keane's given the ball away there in the middle of the field and wins it back fairly this time. Staunton. Good run by Phelan. Jukas has just got ahead of him. Goal kick. Lithuania got a goalless draw against Denmark earlier in the group, which they regarded as the best result they've ever had in their history. They also drew 2-2 against Northern Ireland in Belfast, and interestingly enough, they were 2 goals down in that game after 16 minutes. A word of warning, perhaps, for the Republic, but I don't really think that's likely to happen today. So there we are. Half-time has arrived. Jack Charlton goes out to greet his players as they come off the pitch. The goals by John Aldridge after 4 minutes and Alan Kernahan after 25 have given Ireland a fine start here and a 2-goal lead at half-time. We'll be back after this break.
Welcome back. It's 2-0. It's looking good for the Irish, isn't it, Ray?
Absolutely. They've really approached the game in the right manner. They've put them under an enormous amount of pressure. And I wrote down after about 10 minutes, it was the quality of cross into the box that was causing them so many problems. They're not the best defensively, but if you've got good quality going into the box, you're always going to make chances.
Let's look at the first goal. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a long time to wait, was it? 4 minutes?
No, that's right. About 4 minutes. The ball eventually comes out to Steve Staunton, and he hits this unbelievable half volley across the face of the goal. It's a great ball because not only does Aldridge get on it, but if it had hit a defender, he could have also turned it past his own goalkeeper. So it was an excellent cross into the box. And there have been some excellent chances for young Kernaghan, haven't they? We can have a look at them in a minute, but he's played a blinder. He has. His defensive heading's been exceptional as well when they've been put under a bit of pressure, and he really does clear his lines very, very well. And he's looking to push forward, as Kevin Moran is at times as well. And we saw in the first half here from about 35 yards. He really does drive this superbly well. And Stouchy in the goal there, Lithuanian goal, makes a super save. That's a really good effort. And he followed that up by putting in a fantastic header for the second goal. The game built up very nicely. Ireland penned them in, which is very important when you're playing against lesser opposition. Just keep them penned in the box. And they did so, and they got their just rewards. The first ball comes across, Kevin Moran makes a great header. And as it comes out again, Irwin, who's been quite spectacular with his crossing, really whips this ball in exceptionally well. And Kernaghan that's a very brave header, whips across the front of the defender and sticks it in. You can see he's quite delighted with that one. You can see he thinks he's got the game won, but have they? I think they have, yes. There was they slipped up 2 minutes later when they may well have given a goal away, but they look very good. It's a very professional performance. Moran's header wasn't too bad either, was it? No, that's right. You know, Kevin is always going to get on the end of these crosses, and when he's in forward positions, he's very dangerous. Irwin once again with a fabulous cross into the box, and there's Kevin, as Ron said, very bravely going for it, but it just missed the upright. Let me clear up, Ray, a point I was trying to make earlier. The Lithuanians, they come from a poor country. There's 8 players they can't field because the players play in big leagues and they can't afford the insurance.
I wasn't saying anybody was poorer than anybody else, but you've got a feel for them.
You have got a feel for them. I don't think we would ever criticise anybody for being a lot poorer than somebody else. But they are in a sad situation. If they can't get 8 of their players to a World Cup match, then they haven't really got much of a chance.
But you don't give anybody a chance when you're playing, do you?
Most certainly not in a World Cup qualifier either. And I think Ireland, the way they've approached it, has been absolutely first class, and Jack will be delighted.
Irish eyes will be smiling, you reckon?
Most certainly.
Okie doke. Let's give them a chance to smile a bit more with a good second half. We can see that after this break, and it's coming up, well, any minute now. Welcome back. Still a few minutes before the second half over in Dublin. Time for us now to have a look at the big man, Jack Charlton. We've got some lovely footage here of doing what he says he loves best. Fishing.
By God, he's a strong fish. Oh, dear.
We shouldn't disturb the moment, but it is on tape, Ray, so you can tell us what you think of the world's greatest fisherman.
Well, he obviously loves it, and Gazza obviously comes from a similar part of the world, and he loves it as well, so it must be very relaxed. I've never really tried it myself.
Now, this has got to be a fix, isn't it? How long did they have to wait to see this?
Let's have a look at him before you put him back.
He could have been there a few days for this one. Very pleasant.
Chum salmon. Oops.
What about Jack as a motivator, though? I mean, he's motivating that fish to get swimming, but what about football?
I think he's first class. He always talks about he enjoys his fishing and shooting more than he does his football, but I think that's just a bit of a cover. I think he's absolutely brilliant.
Well, let's see how brilliant he is with the second half. Time to rejoin our commentary team, Ron Atkinson, and first, Alan Parry.
Welcome back to Lansdowne Road. Both teams out on the field again now. No half-time substitutions. And Jack Charlton, dare I say, will have bigger fish to fry if they can go on and get the points they need to qualify for the United States and the World Cup finals next year. Incidentally, if Ireland get just one more goal, they will equal the number that Spain have scored. Spain are the top scorers in this group. So that in itself is an incentive for them, just in case it should come down to goal difference at the end of the qualifying series. Somehow or other, I don't think it will. Remember, after today, Spain come here in October. That's going to be a game and a half. And then the Irish go to Northern Ireland in Belfast in November. Lithuania today playing their last game in the group. Baranauskas, their captain, in possession for them. Overhit that one, and Paki Bonner winning his 67th cap today and having one of his quietest internationals of them all, with an easy interception. Kicking slightly against the wind this time. Here's Keane. Irwin. A good return ball. Keane with room to make the cross now. Decided to come inside the defender, and that proved to be a mistake. Scott Balius, didn't see too much of him in the first half, but back helping his left back out then against Keane.
Yes, that was an ideal situation for him. You know, Irwin had played him well up the park. Good crossing area. The strikers are already primed and triggered, ready to go in. He should really have just put the ball in the box there, Roy Keane.
Houghton wins another throw off Tereshkinas. The rain starts to fall heavily again here in Dublin as Irwin drills one into the far post. He really has been absolutely magnificent, Irwin, with his crosses from the right-hand side and indeed the left, and Quinn the beneficiary then. Useful to have a player like Dennis Irwin, who can play on either flank. Plays most of the time at left back for his club Manchester United. Incidentally, when Ireland scored after 4 minutes today through John Aldridge, it made it 100 goals since Jackie Charlton became manager. This is his 72nd international. These fans really have had some marvellous times in the 7 years since Big Jack took over. Very relaxed squad. And they'll have a party and a half when they do, if they do, qualify for the finals. So Lithuania back under pressure, while Tushnikas conceding another throw-in. Keane making the run. And they've made about 20 yards progress and get another throw-in. Keane. That's a corner, first of the half, the 10th of the game, in fact, for the Republic of Ireland. Lithuania haven't had one as yet. Well, Stoucher knows where the problems are coming from. He's got Quinn to deal with, Kernahan forward, so is Moran. Aldridge floating around in the 6-yard box. This time it's straight onto the defender's head. Now Staunton can try again. Well, he might have caught the goalkeeper out unawares, but I don't think that was really what he was intending.
No, amazing, because I thought the corner he knocked before, although he hit it to an area where there wasn't a lot of people, I thought that was the best ball he'd struck today. Certainly from a corner. That was a bit inexplicable, that one of Steve's there.
Irish football really taking off, of course, since Jack Charlton took over. They reached the 88 European Championship finals, then the 1990 World Cup, and well on course for the 1994 World Cup finals now, with the 2 points they will fully expect to earn from today's efforts. And there won't be too many sides who would relish the thought of playing the Republic of Ireland in the World Cup finals if they get there. One of the most difficult sides to play against in world football. There's an excellent ball. Irwin to Aldridge. Just kept it in, or did he know? Linesman kept up with play for once and says it had gone behind. Goal kick. 35 this month, John Aldridge, and he's another one who's been given a new lease of life in terms of international football since Charlton took over. Kernahan, one of the newer caps, and the other goal scorer today. Irwin doing well. He's had an outstanding game. Arguably the man of the match at the moment. Staunton. Kernahan. Plenty of time for Keane to get that under control. Kernahan again. Phelan in space on the left, but he drills it forward looking for Quinn. Baltushnikas clear. And they're camped in Lithuania's half again here, Ireland. Now they might break clear. There's a wild challenge there on the number 9 Stumbris, winning his 4th international cap for them today.
Yeah, he's the most likely to me, actually, the little blonde boy, Stumbris. He's actually shown when he's had a chance that he's a fair little player.
And they've gone forward dangerously here. Tushnikas finds himself inside the Irish penalty area, to everyone's surprise, and didn't make the most of it, but it's got the crowd going.
I think the Republic can thank the lucky stars that probably, as a libero or a sweeper, that Baltushnikas isn't quite so comfortable in this area, because they've absolutely split the defence. From there on in, you think, go on, pull the trigger if you want a goal. But he looked as if he wanted somebody else to take the responsibility from him. But there is a warning there. You know, as you said, they came back against Northern Ireland, two goals down, and came back and managed to salvage something from the game. So there is a warning for the Republic.
Yes, certainly, that's 3 times now that Lithuania have got into the Irish penalty area in the game and had genuine scoring chances. I wouldn't think Big Jack would be too happy with some of his defending today, but in an attacking sense, of course, the team well in control. Needs another goal, though, to ignite the crowd and the players again.
I think he needs another Irish goal to ignite the crowd.
Yes, I didn't mean that. Here's Phelan. Looking for Quinn here, leaning against the central defender. And as Aldridge arrived, he couldn't quite make contact. Just allowed a bit again there, Stumbris. towards Aldridge, who flicks it on. Quinn, Staunton in with him, but Alvaitis got it clear. Only as far as Phelan, training quite heavily here now at Lansdowne Road. Phelan's given the ball away. Only Slakis in a forward position for Lithuania, but they got to little Stumbris flowing forward now, and extra men arriving too. This is Kirilovas, and that's not a bad effort. And Bonner had to fingertip that one away from the far post. Oh dear, they should have had a corner then, surely. The referee's given a goal kick.
I think Bonner would have appealed for a corner. He's made such a good save there, because when Kirilovas hit that, I thought that we sat right behind that. I thought this was going straight into the corner of the net. But it's good support play, and they have got technique, and they have threatened on one or two occasions. And the Irish should be a little bit warned by that. I think what's also happened, that the Irish are playing into a considerable wind now, and I don't think they can get the ball into the Lithuanian penalty box quite as easy or as comfortable as they were able to do in the first half.
Work there by Skarbalius. And here's the lad you picked out, Stumbris, who was instrumental in that previous attack, and they're looking as though they're enjoying their little spell here, Lithuania. Quinn misses his header, but it drops to Townsend. Staunton to his left. Good challenge. Alvaitis with a very good tackle. But they play themselves back into trouble and just as quickly get out of it again. Kirilovas. The Irish supporters wanting to see a little more from their team at the moment. Owens conceded a free kick. Kernahan's been very solid, what he's had to do at the back.
I don't think the number 10 Kirilovas would have thanked his colleague for that free kick, flipping it up high and letting Kernahan come in and smash him.
There's Kirilovas again. Keane takes it off it. Good ball. Aldridge. The layoff to Houghton. This is better. This is more like it, Ireland. Staunton. Townsend. Phelan. Good football. Quinn and Aldridge await the cross. Goes in short to Staunton for the moment. Phelan again. Those two keeping possession. In now to Aldridge. No, the final ball didn't come off.
That's a pity, that, because that's the best move they've played all match for me. And I think they've got now, because they're playing into the wind, I think they've got to try and play a little bit more, if you like, under the wind. Keep the ball lower. All right, it's ideal in the first half for loading it in on top of Quinn and just belting it into the box. I think this half, they've got the players to do it. They've got good midfield players, good controlling players. I think they've just got to try and football the way in a little bit more.
Layoff there by Slakis. Panavicius turning it back towards him, and he's got in behind the defence here and pulled it into a good position. Well, that's another missed opportunity. They could so easily have had a goal, if not two now, Lithuania.
Yes, there's some indecision here, but I think Terry Phelan thinks, just prior to that, I think Terry Phelan thought that his goalkeeper was going to come and get it out, and that's just hit the foot of the post. But all of a sudden, they're creeping into the game now, aren't they, Lithuania? And this is where I feel that if I was Jack Charlton now, I'd like to see the green shirts taking control of the ball and not giving it away quite so cheaply.
Undoubtedly, the game is going through an interesting phase here now. Ireland sweeping to that 2-0 lead after 25 minutes and looking well on top. And a lot of people must have thought at that stage it was going to be only a matter of how many. But Jack Charlton knows now that his team are in a match at the moment.
I think the conditions have played a major part in the change round as well at the moment.
But Ireland have possession back now with John Aldridge. Townsend. Lots of room for Staunton on the left. And he tried to drive the cross in. He's got another opportunity to do so and didn't make the most of it. Is that bounce for a corner? I think it just did.
See, I think in that situation, I think Steve has had two opportunities there to go at the defender. He got Calavietas on his own twice 1v1. I think he could have beaten him and got to the dead ball line there.
So Somehow you feel an Irish goal coming on, ironically, because they've been under pressure themselves. This would be the moment to make it 3, surely. It's a bit too hard, but it's turned back in, and it almost was another goal. Although in truth, Stoucher had Kernahan's header easily covered, but they got it back again here, and the shot by Irwin lifted high and wide, and he's took a little knock on the shin in the process.
There you go, there's the big deep corner, and the Irish invariably have an extra man always on the corners coming round the back.
We knew what he was doing there, just guiding the ball over.
But that is annoying. That's twice the goalkeeper, Stoucher. He's kicked the ball into touch. I'll tell you what, that drives you up the wall when your goalkeeper does that. The pitch is big enough to keep the ball in.
And again.
Schneekas with a dangerous ball, and Townsend has won it back for Ireland. Tries to lay it off to Houghton. A little flick didn't quite work.
That's what Jack will want when the Lithuanians are trying to set up their passing movements. He'll want people snapping at the heels like Townsend did there and like Keane has done.
Houghton. Irwin delivers another cross, which is flicked away from the defender for a throw. Keane.
Whatever change you want.
Oh dear, disappointing layoff there by Houghton. Should have been routine that. Townsend. Keane beaten to it. Wheelervast turning it on to Slakis. Moran did well and was fouled in the process. Ireland's free kick, taken quickly by Kernahan. Aldridge, good control. Houghton, Quinn on the far post. He's the target. Quinn just beaten to it this time, though. Panavicius brings it clear now for Lithuania. Phelan tracking him all the way, and he's one of the quickest defenders around. Townsend arrives to win it. And they've got a free kick out of that. Good work by Andy Townsend.
I think you saw a first-class example there with the wind in the faces, though. The ball's not coming onto Quinn quite as quick.
Good effort there by Keane.
Looks a bit anxious, doesn't he, when he's in front of goal? Looks as if he's desperate to get, too desperate maybe, trying too hard to get that first goal. Here he's picked up the drop quite well, the bounce, and he surges forward. That's his stock trade. He's got magnificent power.
But Ireland still await that third goal that would make this game a lot more comfortable for them than it is at the moment, as Townsend clips it across the box, and it evaded everyone. Flicked off one of the defenders' shins because it's gone for a corner. Steve Staunton across to take it. Quinn will take up his usual position.
Could they play a clever little one here with Houghton? No, Stevie Staunton hasn't seen it. He's conditioned to loading it into the box.
It's not a bad one this time, and the goalkeeper completely missed that. However, the whistle has gone. I believe the referee has awarded a free kick for a foul on the keeper. It was a wicked ball, though. Didn't see a foul amongst that lot.
No, I don't think there was one at all. I think he's adjudged. He's probably said that Aldridge has impeded the goalkeeper coming out, but he certainly didn't.
Townsend trying to find Keane, but Keane was a bit slow to anticipate. Then Townsend beaten in the challenge. Now Apanavicius. Player down injured at the moment. In fact, it is the little number 6 as Ireland break clear with Staunton. Phelan outside him. He whips it in towards Aldridge. Too deep. Aldridge has made it a better ball than it was. This is Irwin. I think that might have deflected off the defender. The referee has called the halt to play anyway for treatment to Apanavicius. But that will be a corner as it came off Tereshkinas.
Yes, just prior to that, Andy Townsend had just sorted out a couple of Lithuanian players as well. And there's no doubt about the Irish team. When they put the foot in, they really do put the foot in.
Ora makes his run for the corner. Cannon is in behind him. Mr. Keane. Dangerous ball back in. And he can try again. Well, the crossing at the moment is not as accurate as it should be from Ireland. Can Staunton produce a better one? Well, he's got a corner as the defender came to meet him.
One of the problems they've got, of course, is there's so many defenders back in the penalty box, Lithuanian players, that there's not an awful lot of space for them to hit. You know, once or twice you see they may be trying to manipulate a space that isn't quite there.
Well, surely one of these corners has got to produce something for Ireland.
I think we see it shaping up here. If it's an overhit one, Ireland, I would guess, will certainly have someone pulling around the back.
Driven in, and that was a tremendous effort by Ray Houghton. It was a different type of corner, and he really connected with that. If that had gone in, it would have been spectacular.
Would have been a great goal. Also a great spotter's badge there from Steve Staunton on the corner kick.
25 minutes of this match remaining then. Can Ireland build on their 2-goal lead? John Aldridge and Alan Kernahan, the Middlesbrough central defender, scoring the second goal. And curiously enough, both the Irish goals have come from players who don't ply their trade week in, week out in the Premier League. There's Keane. Good run again by Aldridge in the middle. But he gives it to Houghton short. Now Aldridge. That was clever.
Yes, that's John Aldridge, though, isn't it? He's always aware of where the goal is, and that's his trade. That's what he's one of the best in the game. Every time the ball's in the box, he doesn't have to look. He knows where the goal is.
Jack and his assistant Maurice Setters not betraying their emotions. They've said all along here that it was all about winning 2 points this match. And I would think those 2 points are reasonably safe, despite 1 or 2 frights in this half. And 1 or 2 in the first half, in fairness, and maybe another one on the way here with Scarpalius. And that's not a bad ball. And Phelan defended well then. He got in between the attacking player, Apanavicius, and his own goalkeeper to deny him room.
That's where that extra turbo surge comes in, doesn't it? I mean, Phelan, as you said earlier, one of his greatest assets is his pace, and he managed just to hold the challenge off through being rapid.
But it was another little word of warning. The red light was flickering again there for a second. And they've got it back once more here. Apanavicius with a good run. He's got his captain to his left-hand side. And also Scarpalius arriving. He got no real meat behind the head of the number 8. Well, if they could score goals, they would be a reasonably useful side, Lithuania, but they've missed the chances they've had, and at this level, of course, you can't do that.
He's another one that's started to emerge as the game has gone, though, hasn't he? The number 6, Apanavicius. He looks to have been played in a wider position as well this half. It looks more as if he's got to try and occupy Terry Phelan.
Irwin swings one in, and, well, most other players wouldn't have had a hope there, but Quinn got in and won the flick off the defender. It's a corner. Yet another corner for Ireland. Kernahan coming in on the far post. Keane with a lot of room. And wasted it. I think at the moment, Ron, you'd have to say 6 out of 10 for Ireland so far. They're comfortably ahead, but in this half particularly, they've been a bit disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't start the half too well. And then I just felt, just prior to that last little flurry from Lithuania, that they'd started to grind the game out again. I thought any minute now, and I still feel it, that the Ireland will probably weigh in with another goal. But they did have some scares just shortly after half-time. And it's sometimes difficult for a team. Let's just see Houghton.
Yes, he clips a useful-looking ball in, but nobody got there quick enough. Sorry.
Yeah, it's sometimes difficult for a team when they've had the foot on the pedal for the whole of the first half, or virtually the whole of the first half. Here we come. Here's Ronnie Whelan. This will be popular. Hope he's bringing Andy Townsend up to save his hamstring.
You've got Coventry, isn't it, Saturday? You want him fit for that?
That's right.
In the meantime, a substitution has been made also by Lithuania. They've brought on... Well, let's concentrate on the Irish substitution first. Ronnie Whelan for John Aldridge. Kerilabas has come off for Lithuania. And unfortunately for Ron and I, he's been replaced by the player with the most difficult of all the names to pronounce. Matulevicius, I think it is. I don't wish him ill, but I hope he doesn't see too much of the ball. Matulevicius, should we call him 15?
I think Big Jack must have been listening to us there when we were talking for Andy.
Yes. As on comes Keane, and there's Aldridge in the middle. And that wasn't a bad effort. I think I said Aldridge by mistake a moment ago. Aldridge still very much on the field and very much in the action and almost getting a goal.
Yes, I mean, that's a superb break. That's the power. Great run, just a little bit behind Aldridge. I think John Aldridge would have appreciated the ball a yard or so in front. But here's that lovely surge. That's where he's going to be one of the greats, I think, in the game, Keane. And he just can't quite get it into Aldridge's run.
Aldridge winning that one well and finding Houghton. Quinn missed it. Staunton didn't. But again, failed to get the crossing when he had time there, Steve Staunton. And Moran. Whelan. His first touch not very successful. And here's Matulevicius. Losing possession straight away. Phelan. Kernahan. This is better again from Ireland. The crowd respond with a ripple of applause. Houghton finds a lot of room on the right. Once more, the cross could have been better. Kernahan. Irwin. Keane has had better games than this.
It still seems at international level as if he's still a little bit anxious to make his mark. But that's something that will come. I mean, he's going to be a dominant figure for the Republic for years to come, I'm sure of that.
So Keese loses out. Whelan drives it forward. Aldridge has been given offside. That looked a marginal decision because Tushnikas was alongside him. Must have been tight.
From a personal point of view, I hope he has taken Andy Townsend off just as a precaution. He didn't appear to be any apparent problems.
Here's Houghton, another of the Villa players in the side with a magnificent ball to Aldridge. Now then, can he make it 3? No. Almost the moment he lost control, you knew he'd lost the chance.
He also knows, and the linesman knows, that he was a mile offside when he received the pass.
He did look it, didn't he?
Oh, he was a mile off.
Good tackle by Kernahan. He's had a very satisfying game. Irwin. And Tushnikas concedes the throw-in. Now's the time for Ireland to pick up the pace again and get this third goal, which, apart from anything else, as I've mentioned earlier, would get them level on goals scored and indeed, strangely, goals conceded with Spain. As Irwin drives it in dangerously. Misunderstanding between Kernahan and Irwin then. Offside there, I think, quite clear. Don't know how the linesman missed that one. into the wind, holding up difficult for Aldridge, who was pushed by Baltushnikas. Ireland want to take the free kick quickly. Staunton's made a good run into the penalty area, but Houghton has slowed it down again, and it looks as though Tony Cascarino is going to come on as a second Irish substitute any moment now. He's got his tracksuit top off as Staunton prepares to take the free kick. Over Quinn's head, and that's difficult to do. Jack Charlton shows his frustration on the touchline. And the Chelsea man, Tony Cascarino, waits to be called into the action here, but for the moment he stays put on the bench. And the shin pads in ready as Kernahan wins another fine header. Quinn touching it on. He could be the man to be replaced, I guess. Houghton loses control. Tereshkinas with a mistake.
I'm yours, Dennis.
Whelan beaten to it. Now Machelevicius. And the substitute goes forward for the heart of the Irish defence. And that's a neat little layoff chance again here. How many times have they found themselves in a good position inside the penalty area only to blow it today? To Ireland's relief several times. And Apanavicius knows then that he should have done an awful lot better in that situation.
That was a great situation. I mean, they've sliced the Irish defence wide open. There's Cascarino coming on now for Quinn. They do seem as if they're afraid to take that responsibility in front of goal, almost as if they freeze. That's 2 or 3 occasions, certainly twice in this half, where they've had a better than reasonable chance of scoring and have froze. They haven't pulled the trigger. They haven't even tested Bonner on either occasion.
Quarter of an hour to go then, and the aerial strength of Niall Quinn replaced by the equal qualities of Tony Cascarino, the super sub for Ireland, come on so often in the last 3 or 4 years as a substitute. Keane finding Irwin. Back it goes to Kernahan. Looks for the substitute, who wins his first header and picks it up from the rebound. And then Aldridge couldn't get it back to him. And little Apanavicius doing well again, finding Slay Keast this time. He's done well. And a decent looking cross. Kernahan with a good header away. It's not clear yet though. Aldridge finds himself all alone for once in
when you consider they've refused 2 good chances this half. They've hit the foot of the post. Bonner made a very good save, which he wasn't given credit for. You know, you wonder what might have happened if they'd shown a little bit more belief in themselves early on. I know they were a bit unlucky that the goal against them in the first few minutes shattered them a little bit, but certainly when they've attempted to come forward, attempted to play, they've looked very useful.
Here's Houghton. Phelan screaming up on the overlap outside him. Obviously didn't hear him. Staunton's shot. And I think that went off a defender, so it'll be a corner.
Actually, you made what you said, the word there, screaming. I wonder if Terry Phelan was opening his mouth there.
Yeah.
You know, that's the art of coming up from a full-back position. He's letting the player on the ball know you're arriving.
Irwin with this latest corner. Very deep. Cascarino's header down into the danger zone. Whelan picks it up again. And across this time towards the far post. And now Irwin. A word, Cascarino just couldn't read the bounce there. The pressure continues though. Kernahan. Not this time. He produced one very good long-range shot in the first half. Not this time.
There's a Lithuanian defender in amongst all that melee, you know. I think it was the sweeper, Baltushnikas, who was very, very fortunate he didn't get his hand on the ball. I think when it was bobbing about, he tried desperately to claw it out the air.
Well, the Lithuanian coach will know that if his side's finishing have been half as good as some of their approach play today, they could have produced an upset here, but you always get the feeling Ireland can pick up a gear again, should danger threaten. Here's Staunton.
Now that's that situation I was talking about earlier where Steve's got the fellow 1v1, and I think he's got to be brave enough there and positive enough to go at him and try and get round the back of the defender. They've hit a lot of crosses, particularly from the left-hand side, in front of defenders.
I hope you couldn't hear what Jack said then. He was offering a strong word of advice to his players. Keane to Wheeler. Keane again, space opening up for him. He just miscontrolled it at the vital moment. Stumbris. Baranauskas. This little number 9 looks a clever little player on the ball. Did well then to find Skarbalius. And it's good football again now. Another opening for them here. And once again, they couldn't make the most of it. Stumbris this time foiled. And Bonner has had a busier game, I think, than he would have expected after the first few minutes. It's their first corner, Lithuania. Not a very good one. Comes back to Stumbris again. That was a good effort, and it flicked off someone. Obviously an Irish player, because it's a corner. So having waited, 75 minutes for their first corner, they've now had 2 in the space of a few seconds. Almost 80 minutes, in fact. Again, it wasn't a very well flighted corner. Easily cleared. But if you look back on actual goal-scoring opportunities in this game, remarkably enough, Lithuania have actually created more than Ireland, Ron.
Yeah, because very often they've played on the break. They've got more space to go into. And I think possibly, from time to time, you may have got Irish defenders overcommitted.
There's Machulavicius. Phelan drives it clear. Cascarino couldn't control it. Jukas finding Baranauskas. The game's become a bit untidy in the middle of the field from an Irish point of view. And suddenly, they break forward again with the big sweeper. Now Stumbris tries to get it back to him. Stumbris again, good ball across the face of goal. And Ireland forced to another bit of latch-stitch defending there. Kevin Moran sliding it behind for another corner.
I tell you, at the moment, over the last few minutes or so, the lad Stumbris has really started to dominate the game. There's super little give and goes. Good ball into the middle of the box and an Irish block just at the last minute.
Well, that was a strange downward header by Kalvaitis.
Anything he does with his head doesn't surprise me after today. In fact, I think it's the first thing he's headed all day. That might have been the sort of chance at the other end Kevin Moran would have burst the net with. And the goalkeeper's head and everything. He'd have took everything into the net on that.
Well, I would imagine Big Jack's verdict on this is, providing the scoreline remains as it is now, well, we got the points, we did the job, but we've played an awful lot better than that. Still, if Ireland are in the USA next summer, who's going to remember how they played here today? It's all about qualification. Stumbris. Given away to Moran. Strong in the tackle as ever, but Staunton then is beaten to it by Apanavicius. That's a free kick.
They've certainly upped the tempo, haven't they? I know it's an obvious thing when you're chasing a game and you've got your pride to play for, but all of a sudden they look yards quicker than they did early on, the Lithuanians.
Kevin Moran relieved there. The referee didn't see fit to produce the yellow card because he's one of those on one caution. Referees officiated sensibly today and not had to recourse to the dreaded yellow card. Now the captain chips one in again, and Apanavicius and also the sweeper Baltushnikas were on that near post. Dangerous moment for Ireland, but they've got away with it. Kernahan. A good, sensible game he's had today. He's done everything neatly and well. This is Irwin. Ronnie Whelan from Liverpool. Now Irwin again. Looking perhaps for Cascarino with the cross. Disappointing header though. And we're going to have another substitution here for Lithuania. Skarbalius, who hasn't done much in the game, is coming off. And Staljunas is going to take his place.
Firma!
6 minutes remaining now. Ireland lead 2-0. The goals by Aldridge and Kernahan. Staljunas gets his first touch, the later substitute. Stumbris to his captain, Baranauskas. He's an elegant sort of player in possession too, although he's been a bit optimistic with that ball.
As usual, ask all supporters to remain off the pitch.
The new lad, the 12, Staljunas, looks as if he's come straight on as an orthodox left-hand side player. Whether that's to try and stop Dennis Irwin getting forward as much as he's done, but I mean, that would seem a little bit late in the game for that.
And Staljunas loses out this time to Keane. Now Staunton making a good run down the left, and he releases him. And Phelan again sprinting like him for Christie on the outside. And Staunton again drives it in, and the keeper was a little bit lucky then, he fumbled it. As Aldridge came in, he just managed to recover.
Yeah, but that was a better effort from Steve, that was a controlled shot. He can dig it with his left foot. Doesn't need Phelan on that occasion, and as the surface is getting very, very greasy now, that could have been ugly for the keeper, that.
Certainly made a few selfless runs in this game, Phelan, without seeing much of the ball. Here goes Keane. Irwin. United man again. Gives it to his clubmate, and they keep possession between them. That's a lovely ball. Irwin. Cleared by Kalvaitis, and it's Kernahan coming forward with another long-range shot well off target.
Quite frankly, you know, I'd like to see the Irish play a little bit more like that, a little bit more patient in their build-up. They can vary it from time to time. They've got the advantage, they can toss it in either their big centre forwards, but they've also got a load of quality players through their side who are capable of just playing combination football. I mean, you could sense the crowd was starting to get anxious there when Keane and Irwin were passing between themselves without knocking it in, but all of a sudden defenders get drawn all over the place, and they've created a nice little opening.
Good header again from Kernahan. The layoff neat this time. Aldridge to Houghton, former Liverpool teammates. Here's Keane. He needs some help here, I think. Or does he? Plays on the corner. Short corner this time. And then Staunton tried to whip it in along the ground. It didn't really work. Baltushnik has clear. Staunton keeping it in play, though. And then knocked in towards Moran, still up from the previous corner. And then big Tereshkinas gets it clear. Well, the linesman has flagged offside, and I think he's the only man in the entire stadium who knows who it was who was supposed to have been offside. It wasn't Cascarino, there was a defender behind him. Back to the drawing board for that linesman. He was the one who didn't give John Aldridge offside earlier when he was. Here's little Stumbris, one of the best players for Lithuania today. Panavicius couldn't control that one though on the far side. What do you think Big Jack's overall assessment's going to be then, Ron? 2 points?
Well, he'll say that and you'll always settle for that. I mean, he was saying before the game, he was making the noises that Lithuania were a good side. Certainly on the evidence of things we've seen in the latter part of the game, he wouldn't be too wrong on that. He'll be pleased with the way they started in the first 20 minutes of the game, first 25 minutes when they set the stall out, got goals, pressurised and terrified the opposition.
And maybe they can produce a late flourish here. Houghton. Well, I bet you see him a lot in training. You wouldn't put him down as a fearsome header of the ball, would you?
I think England might remember a certain header he got years ago, don't they? But this is arguably, apart from the half volley one in for Aldridge's goal, that's arguably Steve Staunton's best cross. That. I think Jack will be disappointed by the way they haven't made more things happen this half.
And Lithuania continue to go forward with some purpose. And a good ball to the substitute Staliunas, but that was a handball, I think. Well, it'd be nice for Ireland to send their fans home even happier with a last goal here. What can Keane produce? Going on the overlap. Looking for Cascarino, headed away from him though by Shukas. Here's little Stumbris again. Important thing is that Ireland retain their undefeated record and stay as leaders of Group 3 and are very, very close now to qualification for the World Cup finals. It might just be that even a draw here against Spain in their next match at Lansdowne Road would be enough to make qualification certain. A win against Spain and they would be already celebrating. To Lithuania as we move towards stoppage time now. Stumbris. Baranauskas. This could be a final flourish for Ireland. Can't be too much time to be added. Staunton feeling again, making one of those runs down the left and not seen. It's a sloppy ball. And that's it. It's all over. Ireland have done a job today. They've got the 2 points. They stay unbeaten. They stay on top of the group. The goals by Aldridge and Kernahan enough to give them victory against the Lithuanian side in their final group match, who were impressed with some of their skills, but not fortunately for Ireland, they're finishing. Republic of Ireland 2, Lithuania 0. We'll be back soon.
5 weeks from today, not